Oh, the first time, I remember I was sitting at a desk and there was a girl in seminary where I went to seminary, and I said, "What is that commentary you have?" And she said, "Oh, it's a commentary by John MacArthur. He really loves the word and is faithful to it."
I remember exactly the time of my life when I first heard Dr. MacArthur, and like so many, it was on the radio. I was living in Orlando. I was a college student, and I was just bumping into these ideas of Reformed theology.
It came to me on a cassette tape. And so many good things in life when I was that age, back in the early 1970s, came as a cassette tape. I had no access to John MacArthur other than with these sermons that were delivered to me by friends, and we shared them. I was absolutely fascinated, drawn to what John MacArthur was doing. I didn't know who he was, but the way he walked through a text, the way he preached the Word of God, it was absolutely infectious. I wanted more.
Thumbing through a Moody magazine, I saw an advertisement for Charismatic Chaos. The next morning, I went to the local bookstore in Westwood, and I never will forget, I asked the young lady behind the counter, "Do you carry any John MacArthur books?" She said, "Yes, but you don't want his books. He doesn't believe in the gifts." I never heard a person selling books tell me I don't want their books. But she pointed me to the book, and I bought it and devoured that book like in a day.
I first heard John preach when I was just one of a crowd of 10 or 15,000 people in Atlanta, Georgia in 1995 when he was speaking at the Southern Baptist Pastors Conference. He preached an amazing sermon on God from Revelation chapter 1.
Well, the first time I encountered anything by John MacArthur was The Gospel According to Jesus. That book profoundly impacted me.
The Gospel According to Jesus, dealing with the Lordship salvation issue, was massively impactful for me. Really changed my fundamental understanding of the gospel, what it is, and the impact that it has upon the heart.
Gospel According to Jesus stands out because John may have been the only person that could have spoken that truth into the world of the Bible churches in those days, because he had all the credentials that they respected and all the convictions theologically that they respected. And yet John was really concerned about the easy believism and the cheap grace teaching that was pervading that movement.
He's had a determinative impact on a vast segment of American evangelicalism. And that's where you're going to find doctrinal clarity, that's where you're going to find expositional preaching, that's where you're going to find a real boldness and Christian conviction and a passion for the gospel.
We've talked about this together, that John MacArthur's influence is greater than anyone I've ever met in my life, anyone I know. Almost everyone's read him. His books are in all kinds of languages. By the grace of God, he's had a tremendous, tremendous influence.
I don't know what incredible loss would be experienced by that movement if God had not given John MacArthur. And not only that, John MacArthur at full strength, in full fidelity, in full energy for so many decades. Just an incredible gift.
I think John MacArthur gave an example for everybody for what expositional preaching meant.
Unleashing God's truth, one verse at a time. That idea that God's word just needs to be unleashed because God's word is powerful, and that tells us something about where our confidence should be.
He had a unique gift to be able to deal with profound issues, but in a way that everyone could understand.
John's preaching and writing ministry has had a massive impact upon me, not only in terms of doctrine and theology, but also just the gracious personality that he had, how truly humble he was, how kind he was.
John is what he looks like. What a delight to be around that man. I always come away feeling edified when I'm around John.
That's a side that a lot of people don't see. And they're surprised when I say my number one thing about John MacArthur was how kind he was. He fought so many battles. But what I remember is just a very kind man.
My philosophy of ministry, my doctrinal convictions, my pulpit work We're all being influenced by Dr. MacArthur's ministry. I can just bluntly say there wouldn't be an H.B. Charles Jr. without a John MacArthur. In so many ways, he has touched my life and ministry and shaped the man, the Christian, and the preacher that I have become.
Grace to you.
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 Grace to you.